today's webinar for AAC month, we are focusing on AAC for simple users. So we're going to talk a little bit about TD Snap, a little bit about BoardMaker, have a little look at some of the hardware options available, and then take any questions you may have. Let me just get started over here. Okay, so my name is, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Connor Quigley. I've been in Safecare a couple of years now, and I primarily focus on the AAC side of things. Um, Obviously, from ourselves, I'll talk a little bit more at the end, maybe about how you may avail of some of our products and services. Maybe that's through assessments or loan devices, etc. I'll point you in the direction of how to find these things. For those of you that haven't worked with Safecare before, we're the Irish reseller for Tobii Dynavox, BJ Live, Red App, AbleNet, Abelia, Praetorian. So a couple of different ranges of products, ranging from AAC, communication, to environmental control, to assistive technology, etc. So today we're primarily focusing on our AAC offerings, and one of our major offerings in that area, especially for simple users, is TD Snap. Some of you may have known TD Snap as SnapCore First, but there has been a change in name since sometime in the summer, I think it was. Tobii Dynavox changed the name to TD Snap. So as you may recognize the old logo and name, SnapCore First, and it's now TD Snap. So new logo, new icon on the App Store, new Connor, you're not audible. You can't hear me? Is that correct? Maybe right? Can anyone hear me? Where's that? Can some people hear me and other people not hear me? Okay, I think it might only be one person who can't hear me. But I'll keep going. If you can't hear me, let me know. My system says that I am speaking, but might be just one person. So okay, TD's, it is now called TD Snap, and it has a new icon. So when you have an iPad or a Windows device, the icon will look a little bit different. It's new branding. So the reason they changed the name was because, as I said, most people would have known the Core First and the symbol-based side of the software, which we will focus on today, but they have added new layers to it. There's a new text-based software, as well as there is now an aphasia page set, all within TD Snap. So you get all of these pages included within TD Snap. So I think the name SnapCore First was confusing people, that it was only for core language communicators. So there's also new add-on page sets for Gateway and Pod. So if you have users that have used Pod in the past or Gateway and you want to bolt them into your TD Snap, you can do so. There's new integrations, so things like BoardMaker, you can integrate directly with BoardMaker through your TD Snap, and TD Snap is the first software to have a full Google integration. So you have Google within the software, which I'll kind of give you a small demonstration of shortly. So there's been some new features in it. There's easier setup, there's a print function, there's more languages, more voices, more symbols, new scanning features, better eye gaze functionality, and new editing tools. So for those of you that haven't used TD Snap in a while, all these new features are added. So and then obviously you have the resources. So there's training cards and materials. There's the Pathways app, and we have lots of online videos as well to help. So what does all this look like? I'm sure you don't want to be looking at a PowerPoint about TD Snap. Let's have a look at TD Snap itself. So when you start with TD Snap, we're going to focus on the symbol side of it today, which is the Core First page set. So this is what it may look like in a 5x5 grid. So I've kept it on this size just to give you a kind of an idea what it looks like. The first page is your core page. So here, this is using, so the idea of the software, the idea of the Core First software is that it teaches our users to use core words. So core words make up about 80% of what we use in language. So words like want, not, like, more, can do, guide, go, if, stop, etc. So the software kind of takes that kind of idea that if we can teach our users to use a word like want, they'll probably be able to use it in more circumstances than, say, cup or plate or fork. So if we can focus on words like this, they can create more sentences. They can get their messages across.
I
Want
want more.
we can create sentences just from using these core words. So how the core page works is that we put our words together to frame sentences. So we call this novel language. So we can create our message or sentences from putting words together. So I like. I go in here, this pink button is my word list, and in here I'll find my fringe vocabulary. So these are those words I might finish my sentences in. So I might go into food and drink, and I like
pizza. I like pizza.
I'll turn it down a little bit. So I like pizza. So I can create my sentence using the core words page. So I want more. Back to my word list. Might as well stick with food and drink.
Water. I want more water.
Okay, so again, we can expand that out to make, we can add our little words, we can get our grammar right, we can use descriptive words, etc., so that we can create those sentences and get our messages across. So these orange buttons here on the left-hand side of my screen, these are how we navigate between the software. So I'm on the core words page here. I go to my quick fires. These are pre-stored phrases and messages. So we don't have to put buttons together to create sentences. So these are formulaic language. So pre-stored messages we may use over and over again. So things like,
I don't know. Come here.
I can go into a folder about personal needs.
I need to use the bathroom. I am thirsty.
And so on and so forth. You can edit all these. You can change them. These are the default ones here, but you can change that to suit. You can have questions.
Can I have some more?
You can talk about your feelings.
I'm happy. I'm sad.
And so on and so forth. So unlike the core first page where we've got to put words together to create our sentences, these quick fires are pre-stored phrases. So if it's something that somebody uses over and over again on a regular basis, they may use quick fires to get their message across quickly. Topics, taking those pre-stored messages and phrases and categorizing them into folders. So there's lots and lots of different topics within the topic section. They're arranged in alphabetical order. Some are relevant for children, some are relevant for adults, and so on and so forth. You can edit it to suit. You also have some blank pages, so you can create your own topics to talk about school or work or friends, etc. If I go into a topic, so let's say we're going into classroom, here I have, it's color coded, so your questions are in blue.
What does that mean?
Your kind of generic phrases are in orange.
I need paper.
Your positives are in green.
I can do it.
And your negatives are in red.
I don't know.
Again, you can edit these, you can change them to suit, etc. So again, every topic, if I go into a different topic, and we'll go into one about games, you can see my questions here are related to games, and my positives.
Let's play again. Let's stop.
My negatives in red. So you can go through each of the topics and see which ones are relevant. In your topics as well, there's some other built-in features. So I'll go back to the classroom. As well as having your pre-stored phrases, there's a link out to find more topic words. So if you want to find words that are related to that topic, and you can create your own messages. And there's also the supports button here on the right-hand side with kind of red life buoy on it. So when I go in here, we have a couple, we call these behavioral supports within TD Snap. So there's a couple here to kind of maybe help our users in their daily activities. So we have a visual timer. When I press this, you can see at the top, there is a red bar. It just starts the countdown. The default is 5 minutes, but you can change that if you just want it for a minute, or if you want it for 20 minutes, you can change that. So it could be, Connor, we want you to concentrate on your device for the next 5 minutes. You can go once the alarm goes off. So, it can be a way for somebody to have a timeout or etc. as well. Go to seat. This is the first and then. So first,
go to my seat, then open my book.
Okay, so and again, we can edit these to suit. It might be first, take off your coat, then sit at your seat or whatever it may be. You can change them to suit the person you're working with. The next one, follow directions. This is a visual schedule, so this just kind of expands on our first and then. So first,
sit at desk. Next, open the book. Then follow the directions on that page. Last, look up a teacher when done.
and again, you can edit these to suit, and you can change whatever is the visual schedule or first and then that the person you're working with might use. We also have scripts and social stories. So again, if you want to put that conversation into kind of more of a linear format where somebody wants to pre-prepare something they want to talk about, whether that's they have questions or they want to share their news or they want to talk about something they might have done over the weekend. So
what are we doing today? Will you help me, please?
And so on and so forth. Or you might be going into a shop and you want to have your questions ready for what you want to buy. And then you can create social stories as well. So
when the quiet desk work sign is up, I know it's time to be in my seat. I'm very careful to stay quiet while I'm sitting at my desk.
And so on and so forth. So again, you've got these default ones. Any topic I go into, so if I go into bingo, got my phrases, my questions, I can go into support. My first and then is about playing bingo.
First, I buy my bingo card. Then I find a seat.
And so on. My visual schedule is about bingo. My script is about bingo. And my social story is about bingo. So every topic in the system will have, in the software, will have default phrases, topic words, and supports, which include your first and then and your visual schedule. You can obviously create your own from scratch as well. So the topics are there under the topics folder on the left hand side in the orange buttons. The next one under that is keyboard. So again, this is text to speech. So
H I M Y
my name
I S C O N O R.
So again, you might have
my name is Connor.
You might have somebody using a keyboard. They might be working on their literacy skill, or they might use that for their text to speech. So, so again, and you can have different types of keyboards. You can have bigger keys, smaller keys, etc. So, they're the kind of 4 different ways on the left hand side: core words, quick fires, topics, and keyboard. So your keyboard and your core words, you can create sentences from anything, and then your novel language, create your message, put in words, letters, buttons together to create your sentences. Quick fires and topics, they're your formulaic language. That's your pre-programmed messages into the buttons on the system. So it's very easy to edit and to change buttons. So if I wanted to, I'll quickly show you so I can use this one because I've done it already. I'll go in here, I press the edit button up here, I tap on a button, put in, I want one for Apple, I just put it in the label, it'll automatically give me a picture, and that's it. I've created a button. And I'll do pear because we're going on fruit, and I can click on this and I can say, oh, I don't like that color pear, I prefer this one, and I'm going to go done. So all the symbols are built into the system. You can edit it, you can change it. You can also take photographs directly from the system. I won't be able to do it now because I have my camera for the webinar, but all I got to do is press the camera button here from camera, and once I take a picture, it'll go directly onto the button here. So you've got a huge range of symbols in the system. There's even Irish symbols in it. There's high contrast symbols for the people who are visually impaired. So I'll go into that shortly. And so you've got lots of different options in terms of editing buttons, how you want them to look, what way they work best for your user. So very easy system to edit. And one other feature I'll show you is how that a person grows with the language. So I'm using a 5x5 grid size here. So there's 25 buttons on the page. It's very easy for me to change how many buttons are on a page. We have some users that may have only 1 word on a page. They might have 4. So as you can see, these are my core words: want, not, like, and more. As the person is learning more language, learning more vocabulary, they're becoming more confident with the device, you may increase the grid size. So now I've got 6 buttons on a page. I'll even go out to 16 words on a page. As you can see, want, not, like, and more are still together. all the language has grown around it. We've brought in the navigation, and we can go right in up to 80 words on a page. So you can take your user from 1 word on a page right up to 80 words on a page and anything in between. So again, your user can grow with the system very easily. And the other way that a person may use the system to grow, I'll go back to the 5x5 grid size. We could say, you know what, from an understanding, from a potential, from their access point, we think that 25 buttons on the page is fine for a user. But at this moment in time, they just find that, we haven't worked on the word can, we haven't worked on go, we haven't worked on they're just finding a little bit overwhelming, and we're not getting, we want them to kind of be more functional on the words that we're working on at the moment. So what I can do, instead of deleting buttons, I can hide buttons. So at the moment, I want to just focus on want and like. They're the 2 core words I want to put together. So all I do is I press the eyeball on the side here and I hide everything else. And it just makes the screen a little bit clearer, a little bit easier for our users to work with. So we can say, press the yellow button, I, press the green button, want. Then we go into pink to search for our words. We're going to declutter this a little bit because there's a lot going on here. I'm just going to keep food and drink, toys, and animals. I'll get rid of everything else. And now I only have a choice of 3 things here. So I'll go into toys and game, ball.
Ball. I want ball.
And then as the user, we're saying, okay, they're doing really well with these core words. Let's start to introduce some more. I can just press not. And I've added another core word, and we can work on that. And as their vocabulary grows, you can just keep introducing more and more buttons back in. But it helps people from their motor planning, from their understanding, etc. Where they are with the software, and you can help them grow. And you can do that on any page. You can hide and move and change buttons. So that's kind of language piece of Snap. There are some kind of additional pieces within it now, things like it's got, you can do environmental control, control your TV, etc. You can do Google is built into it now, as I kind of mentioned earlier. This means that you sign in with your Google account. It's got some pre-made buttons, but you can create your own. So I can go to information.
How many people live on the Earth?
7.9 billion. On the website worldometers.info, they say the current world population.
Be quiet.
Okay, I'll stop that. So what this is that, if you're used to having a smart speaker or something like that at home, where you say, Alexa, what time is it, or what's the weather, or Google, what time is it? This is built into Snap now. You don't need to have an additional smart speaker with you. You can just type the button in, and Google will speak back to you. So you don't have to have another speaker. So you can have.
What is the capital of Italy?
Rome is the capital of Italy.
That's information. We could do fun stuff like
bark like
this
dog.
Is a boxer dog.
You can do things like your usual stuff, playing music. You can do time and weather. What time is it?
What time?
It's 1:20 p.m.
And then you can do like life skill things like what time is the next bus to Galway. So if somebody's an independent user, they might link with Google to do things like this.
What time is the next bus to go?
The best way to get to Galway by bus is to catch 203 departing at 1:37 p.m. from.
Be quiet.
I'm just going to stop it because you don't need to know how to get a bus to Galway. But what it means is that I could be anywhere in Ireland. I could have my device with me and I want to get home. And I just ask Google, how do I get home? It could be something like, where is the nearest Italian restaurant? And, we're out in we're out on Saturday and my parents say, oh, Connor, why don't you choose where you eat today? And we know that Italian food is your favorite food. So I can press the button, where's the nearest Italian restaurant? And I get to choose where we're going for dinner tonight. So having Google built into the system is quite a nice feature, and so on and so forth. So So that's TD Snap kind of in a nutshell. That's one of our communication softwares for symbol users. I'll come back to maybe some other features and how you can link in and get it in a minute. If you have any questions, drop them into the Q&A. I'll keep an eye on it here, and I can answer questions as we go along. Let me just go back to my PowerPoint. So where were we on this? Okay. Has anyone got any questions on TD Snap for now before I move on to BoardMaker? That's the next one I was going to go on to. So BoardMaker 7 is we kind of say TD Snap is our communication software, and BoardMaker 7 is our curriculum software. So we use BoardMaker 7 primarily in schools for activities, creating resources, and so on and so forth. So teachers, parents, SNAs, therapists, they can create activities, they can find activities, we can play them, and we can assign and collect data. So the software is made up of 3 pieces. It's made up of an editor, the online piece, which is your account, and then the student center. So I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment. It uses the PCS symbols. So PCS symbols are picture communication symbols. They're the ones that are in TD Snap as well. So if you're familiar with them, what we were looking at in Snap were primarily made up of the classic ones. We call these the egghead ones. They're quite generic in how they look. There's the thin line ones. These were designed when people said the classic ones maybe were a little bit kind of maybe more childlike or hard to understand for adults, etc. Thin line, a lot more descriptive in their images, a lot cleaner. You've got differences in gender and race, etc., are a bit more evident in the thin line symbols. You have the high contrast, so these are the ones I spoke about a moment ago, generally for visual impairment on a black background with a high contrast color for the symbol. Then you have in context. We use these primarily for maybe people with aphasia, brain injury, or people who may not be familiar with symbols or maybe using symbols for the first time, primarily adults, to be honest. You'll get a lot of kind of pointing, gesturing. The picture kind of explains what the symbol is. And then you also have updates. So symbols are updated bi-weekly. They come in line with current events. Obviously, there's loads of new symbols around COVID. You've got things around like Black Lives Matter. There's a big push for new symbols based on gender around the Black Lives Matters movement. Or sorry, not gender, around race. Around the Black Lives Matter. You've got things around Brexit, etc. And there's always new. And if you have any ideas for symbols, we can get those created as well. So you'll find lots of Irish symbols. So these symbols are all available in BoardMaker 7. There's 45,000 symbols at the moment. You can use these symbols to support communication. So if you're not using a high-tech device, you may use a low-tech like a Pextbook or a communication board, or you might just stick symbols around the classroom or your home, etc. You can do behaviors, first and thens, visual schedules, so you can make them on BoardMaker, print them out, stick them up in the classroom, supporting participation. So we've got different activities and schoolwork, etc., created in a symbol format. These symbols are becoming much more visible, and we're starting to see them in more and more places now. Like I went through TD Snap, obviously in communication softwares, they're obviously quite prevalent. Google, the Android blocks on your Android devices now have options for PCS symbols. The action blocks, you can create little actions on your Android phone using PC symbols. That's inbuilt into your Android phone now. You don't need any additional software. Microsoft have started to implement symbols into some of their softwares, including OneNote, etc. You'll find options for symbols there. Their readers have some symbol integration. So starting to see around here, we're getting a lot of playgrounds now. You might see communication boards using PCS symbols. You're starting to become a lot more popular as well. So BoardMaker 7 takes all these symbols, and then you can create your own activities from there. So there's templates. You can use it on a Windows computer, Mac, Chromebook. 50,000 PCS symbols. You can use templates. I'll show you this rather than actually going through the PowerPoint. So yeah, you can go through all these different types of symbols, symbol order them. So why don't I just open this up so you can kind of get a view of it. Right, so this is your editor system. So it stores all your previous kind of boards that we've created in the past, or these are some of the ones that I've made in the past. Some of them you can find online and just pull them down into your system. But if you wanted to create new boards using BoardMaker, you can just click on New. You can start blank ones where you can just create a blank board, but you've got loads of these templates as well. So they're all listed on the side here, whether it's behavioral supports, books, calendars, communication, device overlays. So if we go into behavioral supports, we can see I can make my own first and then. I can do self-monitoring, student rewards, token boards, etc. I can do books and presentations where I can create my own book. So if there was a book that a child I was working with and I wanted to put it into BoardMaker, I could do that because it's their favorite book and I want them to have access to it. Communication, I can create my own communication books through this. I can do device overlays, I can do games, I can do matching, maths, sequencing. So there's lots and lots of templates. So if you're familiar with BoardMaker in the past, if you've used BoardMaker, this is just taking a lot of those kind of things that people used to make from scratch and giving you lots of templates for you to use them. So sorting groups, flashcards, games, visual schedules. If I want to create my visual schedules for the class, I can say here's a 5-set. Let's have a look at a sample of one of these. So here's my schedule. I can print this out, and then I have page 2, which is place the text and symbols for each sequence in the item below, then cut them out, laminate them, and Velcro them to the sequence. So the 5 things I'm going to do in my schedule today is sign in, choice, maths, reading, and lunch. So cut these out. I have this stuck up on the wall. I can Velcro those, I can laminate those, Velcro it, and away we go. So all those templates are made for you. You can create your own from scratch, obviously. You know, and so on and so forth. Let's have a look, see, do I have any created back here? So here's some of the ones that I would have created in the past. Bingo sheets, recipes, following directions, again, just vocab stuff. So you can create all of these. You can do print ones, which are basically you print them out and laminate them, or you can do interactive boards as well. So the interactive boards are something like this. So I got to sort these using my iPad or using my laptop at work, or if I'm an iGaze user, I can use my iGaze system. It's all accessible for the people we work with. So I suppose BoardMaker in the past was very much a print resource where you use paper, but not everyone that we work with has the motor skills to maybe be able to pick up these different individual buttons and place them. So maybe they might be able to do it on an iPad. Maybe they'll use a switch, etc. So, you know, I got to arrange these into the right order.
That's right. Donkey belongs. That's right. Blackbird belongs in birds. That's right. Bull belongs in not birds.
And so on and so forth. I'll try and put a goat in birds.
That doesn't belong there.
It doesn't belong there. So again, doesn't have to be a print version. You can create interactive ones, and all those templates are made for you. So like it's really not difficult to do and set them up, and then they're all stored. You can share them then with your students, so you can send that directly to their iPad. You can send it directly to their laptop or whatever it may be, their Chromebook. So if they're not in school or you're working remotely, you can still use BoardMaker and access it. They can access the activities that they work with that you've set up for them. You can also, let me see here, on your online version then as well, you've got extra things like curriculum, things like there's a literacy program which is called Reading Avenue, and then there's a language piece called Core First Learning. Again, we have specific webinars based on those, so I won't go into it today because they're quite big pieces, but there's a lot of additional resources and frameworks within BoardMaker now that you can use with your students, especially around literacy and language. So it's quite a big piece of software now that is very inclusive for all our users. You can then use it with your students. So you can link students to your account. So we can have a look at some of the students on my account. So here you can see some of the people, if I'm working with any of these, I just set them up. Let's have a look at who am I looking for? Yeah, because I usually share a bit with this fella. So Demo Dave, I've sent Demo Dave a bingo card, an attendance sheet, camping, whatever else I've done. And then they get all these resources on their iPad, and then they can use those resources and use those interactive activities together. So again, just kind of a snapshot at Boardmaker for you guys. Again, we have specific webinars for this that we look at it a little bit more in depth at Boardmaker from here. So again, as I said, you can change the type of symbols you're working with. So if you're working with somebody who's got a visual impairment, it'll just automatically change all the symbols to those. If you want to focus on you're working with a female person, then all the symbols will be for female orientated. If it's a male, etc., or children, you can change what way it organizes. That's how it orders. You can browse different categories. There's also a integrated web search. So if a symbol isn't there that you need, you can also search the web from within Boardmaker, and it'll bring the picture through onto your button or onto your resource. So as I said, I showed you some of the interactive resources. So again, not all of our users can use paper resources. So for those that it might be easier just to send people activities on their devices, so they might prefer to use their iPad, etc. So you have that option of using either paper resources or interactive resources. The curriculum piece I spoke about, you have the core first learning, the reading avenue, and the activities to go. And I've taken a look at the editor. So they're the two big pieces of software we have on our YouTube channel. Let me just bring that up. Actually, I should have had that ready. Before we go into hardware, and I forget to show you this. We did. I'll bring this over here just for you to have a look at. So on our YouTube channel, if you just search for Safecare Technologies and go to playlists, you'll see we did these ham sandwich sessions. There's one for Boardmaker 7 and there's one for TD Snap as well. They're short videos around both those softwares. So if you want to have a bit more of a look at those, I'll throw this link into the chat. The sheet I might already have done it, but I will chuck it in there. So if you look at the chat, the Q&A section of the webinar, you'll see that I put that link in there. So what kind of devices can you use these softwares on for communication? We have a couple of different options. We have our multi-access devices, the Tobii Dynavox device. These would probably be our two most popular. The i110, which is a dedicated AAC device. It's got loudspeakers. It's a robust device. It's waterproof. It's got switch ports on it. It comes with TD Snap included. Also comes with communicator included, and lots of other bits and pieces. You've got the SC tablet, which is based on an iOS platform. Again, it's a dedicated AAC device. You've got switch ports. It's MDR approved. Loudspeakers, carry handle, kickstand. Both of these devices can be mounted easily if you need a floor stand or a table stand or a wheelchair stand. They're quite easy to mount. Then we have other options based around the iPad. We have the iPad Rugged, which is a protective case on your iPad for durability. Comes with software included and resources as well, learning resources. And the iPad Go, which is again, it's a more lightweight device, more lightweight cover. It's got a little kickstand on it, and it's based on the iOS. So they would be our four kind of touch devices. The i110 and the SC tablet have switch inputs as well, so you can integrate a switch with those. For eye gaze, we've kind of two main eye gaze devices would be the iSeries, as probably our most popular. It's our dedicated AAC device. It's got an inbuilt environmental control system, so you can control the TV or the radio or whatever it may be. It's a complete eye gaze system. You've also got the iMobile, which is more of a lightweight, more portable device. Use the IS5 eye tracker. They both actually use the IS5 eye tracker, which means that they can work outdoors. So they can work in sunlight as well. And again, it comes with the software and the resources. But we won't go into too much hardware. You can find all these. Ishita might throw up the links on our website, in the chat box, just where you'll find these on our website, where you'll find more information on them. If you were looking to get started on any of these, you can start 30-day trials on both these softwares, on Boardmaker and TD Snap. You'll find them on mytobydynavox.com. You can book an assessment with us. So if you are a therapist and you want us to maybe come meet one of your clients and have a look at maybe how the software works or some of the hardware works, we're happy to come along and help you out and have a look. You can book a loan device. So if you want to try any of the hardware and the software together, you can book a device. We'll send one to you. You can trial it for 2 weeks. With that, we give you a free online training session as well for you, the family, the end user, whoever. They can attend that training session to help you get the kind of most out of that 2 weeks. You can also book an online training session. Avail of TD for professionals. So if you are a therapist or a teacher, etc., you can get TD Snap we give you a professional license. So you get a full license of TD Snap and another software, which we're going to talk about next week in the AAC for text users, which is called Communicator 5. We'll give you a copy of that as well. So if you need to use it for assessments or training, etc., we'll get you up and running with that. We'll send you the links for some of this stuff. I see Ishita's putting them up in the Q&A, but we will send you the links in an email after this webinar so that you can kind of book into any of those or to get your free copies of the software. So that is pretty much, it's quite a lot to cover in 40 minutes. Both softwares have their own webinars and we do our own trainings on them individually, but I hope you got a little something out of the webinar.